Hey, what's up? My name is Josh, and I've been asked today to discuss my career path as well as possibly end with some advice uh, for how to figure out what you want to do with your life moving forward. So, currently, I work at Pfizer, which is one of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies, and every day I get to wake up and try to figure out how we can better patients' lives. And so, right now, I'm in the data analytics group, and probably the best way I can describe it is, if you've ever had those weird or big questions, maybe when you're lying awake at night and you think, the age-old question, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a lollipop, or how many plants do you think there are in the world, or even just in my backyard. Our group is in charge of answering those big questions, but for pharmaceuticals and healthcare. So, uh, for example, earlier today I had a meeting with some individuals about how the coronavirus is actually affecting and changing how we interact with doctors uh, and how we interact with other healthcare providers. And because obviously we can't, see each other face to face like we used to anymore. And so, answering those kinds of tough and important questions in a very crucial industry is what my group does, and it's something that motivates me and drives me every day. Uh, Now, a little bit about my career. So, I went to college to study biomedical engineering, and I quickly realized that, engineering I don't think is for me. I didn't want to be in a lab all day for the rest of my life. So, I got out of it, and when I graduated, I got my first job at Johnson and Johnson in their pharmaceutical division. So I worked there for a year, and then after that, I came here to Pfizer, and I've been here for 2 years now. And so, a little bit of advice that I would give to all you young individuals who are trying to figure yourselves out is the first thing, I would not be too focused on what major you want to choose. I know when I was growing up, I know when I was in high school, that was the big thing. A, what college you go to, and B, what major you're going to study. And your major is not going to define who you are in your career, especially now more than ever. Take me for an example. I studied biomedical engineering, and now I'm doing data and analytics in pharmaceuticals. I don't use any of the skills, the hard skills that I learned from engineering, but the soft skills stayed with me. So, uh, especially if you don't know what you want to study yet, it's okay. Take your time, and it's not going to, define your whole life or your career. Now, the second piece of advice that I would like to give you is to dream bigger than just college. So I know college is obviously, and rightfully so, a big focus for a lot of you right now in high school. And it was definitely for me. But the biggest mistake I realized was that people put way too much of an emphasis on college. College is simply supposed to be a stepping stone to help propel your career or to begin your career journey. And for many individuals, that wasn't the case. It was the other way around. Their whole career, their whole mindset since they were young was to get into the best college possible. And that is simply not healthy or good. So I would challenge you to dream bigger and think of, okay, what are my passions? And how can I help people with my passions? And plot a point, even if it's not where you end up, at least start somewhere and draw a line and make sure that every single step along the way, including college, especially college, helps in that journey. Just because you can get into the best college you can doesn't mean that you should necessarily go there if you're not specializing or if they're not good at what will help you in the long term. Now, the last piece of advice I'd like to give you is kind of attached to the second one, which is around finding your passions. I know the most frustrating thing for me when I was young was when older individuals were like, "Oh, don't worry, when you find your passion, just go for it." And that was their advice. I'm like, okay, that literally doesn't help me because I don't know what my passions are. And so, I would encourage you to just try anything and everything. I am 25 and I still don't know exactly what I want to do with my life. So you don't have to be pressured or feel like you have to know what you're good at, what your passions are, and what you're going to do with the rest of your life. But I would highly recommend that you get into a habit of failing. And that might sound weird, but I think a lot of individuals cut ourselves short and we don't even try because we're afraid of failure. And I think that's really, really bad. One of the mottos of my life is, it's better at the end of your life to be called a failure than a coward, because you never know until you try. So even if you don't think you're going to like something, at least just give it a shot. And if you don't like it, then great, you can cross one off the list. And so if you have this mentality, especially going into college, where I'm willing to try everything, I'm willing to join any club possible, I'm willing to, take every class possible, then you will be much better off at the end than an individual who was narrow-minded and was focused on just one thing as soon as they entered college. That's all I've got, and I wish all of you the best in your future and your careers, and who knows, maybe we'll be working together someday.